Hello, everyone. We are back. We are the Cars Casually gang. We are here to talk about new cars versus used cars and what we think you should be doing and what we do ourselves. We are here with Chris. We are here with Nix. We are here with Paulo. We are here with Gerard. Gerard, we are officially changing his name because he apparently has internet fans. So when he was not there for one of our point fives, basically, or something, they asked, "Where's G?" So from now on, we are christening Gerard as G. So hey, G. So today we're going to be talking about new cars versus used cars. And when we grew up, one of my best friends, his dad said he would never buy a new car because he said, "What's the point in driving off and losing 20% of your value in something the very first day?" That always surprised me because I grew up in a family where we were public servants, military, teachers. So any car was a pretty big deal for us. So I would always aspire to a new car, which I didn't get until much later in life. So to me, that was very, very different. But it made sense because if you look at it from the financial side, yes, why drop 20% of your value right from the top just because you're driving off the thing? So we are now in a situation with the pandemic and COVID and whatever, where we honestly can't really tell what's going on with the market because we have some car companies that are telling us they're doing well. There are some that are telling us they're not. There are some people who are saying that used car sales are doing quite well, but there are people who are trying to sell their cars and they're saying they can't sell them. So this is actually a very good time for us to discuss what is good and what is bad about new cars and used cars and what you're trying to do. This does not necessarily include things like the first generation NA Miata, which we will bring up every single chance we can do so, because that's a collectible. So, but we're gonna go talk about if you let's go to Paolo as an example. Let's say he was buying a car now, and he told me not to make him full screen, so I won't. As an example, Paolo, what do you feel? You're the youngest guy here. If you were, what would you be thinking? New car versus used car right now?
Honestly, I would go for a used car if I was gonna buy it with my own money, because I agree with what you were saying earlier that once it goes out of the dealership, you lose the value right away. Of course, who would not want a new car, right? I would want a new car, but maybe at this point of my life, it would be smarter for me to buy a used car. But of course, there are many factors that go into it. I would have to be really meticulous and finding the right one. But that the short answer is right now I would go for a used car.
Even compared to, we've been doing some of the very inexpensive cars. Nix has done the Espresso. We've looked at, well, you're going to see it soon. We've looked at the New City, which I personally like a lot. Even against the new China brands, you would still look in your life now. You would look primarily at a used car.
Honestly, there's no straight answer for me when it comes to this.
Okay.
It would depend on the budget. For example, if I can get first generation Fortuner for the price of a new, I think the first gen Fortuner is around 500,000. So that's around the price of the Suzuki Espresso or like the new Kia Stonic. I would go for the Toyota Fortuner still because it's more car to it,
More cars.
right? So there are a lot of factors. It depends on the budget.
But you're also choosing, if you're choosing a Fortuner and if you're choosing a Toyota, then you're also choosing something that you're fairly comfortable with in terms of reliability, in terms of being
Indeed.
a solid vehicle. So it'll come down to. But okay, then if that's the case, what do we think that people should be looking out for in this? Chris, what are your thoughts?
Well, here's the thing. Buying secondhand opens you up to a lot more options for sure. But you'd have to know exactly what you're doing because when you're buying secondhand, you don't know where that car came from. You don't know how the previous owners treated it. You're looking at maybe it would be a good idea to bring a mechanic with you. Actually, I've heard some people do that when buying secondhand cars just to check it out. But even then, like you said, in today's market, it makes less sense to buy secondhand now because there are really good cars that compete very well price-wise. Unless you find an excellent deal, like you find one of those diamond in the rough deals, a car with 1,000 kilometers on it for half the price of a brand new, stuff like that. Then
Yeah.
you can't pass those up. But generally, secondhand cars, if you look at websites, buy and sell websites, you can see they all more or less have the same value, and that's a value that it can compete with brand new cars now. Unless you're talking about Euro cars. If you've always wanted to own a Euro car, for example, a BMW or an Audi, and those have really significant depreciations
Yeah.
as the years go
Yeah.
by,
Yep. Yep.
but if you're the kind of guy who's always wanted to own a Euro car, but you could never afford a brand new one, then secondhand is your best option, right? But then that comes with its own set of headaches. That comes with
And
parts failing, and the cost of those parts. A turbo could cost 50,000 pesos alone. So sometimes what you think is a deal doesn't turn out that way. So yes, maybe 20 years ago, secondhand was a very viable choice. These days, with cars, I mean, with manufacturers getting very competitive in terms of pricing, they've been bringing in very good value for money models, and I think there's an argument to be made that secondhand cars uh, just aren't worth getting as much as they used to a while
you
a
know,
while ago.
I agree with Chris to some extent, especially when it comes to old cars, to secondhand cars that are from maybe just 10 years old or younger. But if you look at something that's from the mid 90s, maybe around 200,000 or less, maybe that's what I was talking about. Na I would get a second-hand car. But if it would make me choose to buy a 2011 Altis, I would rather get a brand new car because it's still the price is still kind of up there, and with the price of that Altis of that generation, you can get something around that price range that's brand new. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to second-hand cars, I would get more of like maybe the 90s Civics, like the Corollas.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
becomes
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
of a it becomes more of like a maybe like almost like a grail hunting thing. If you're after a specific model, like if you're after a Miata, if you're after
Yeah.
an 86 Trueno, or something like that. Or
Mm.
it also, like, something else to consider is manufacturers are also getting very aggressive with their warranties now, and their after
Oh
sales,
Yes.
their
yeah.
PMS.
Yes.
The 5 years,
Yes.
5 year warranty or standard,
Yeah,
right?
5-year
Yeah.
warranties, 10-year warranties, 1 year, 2 year, 3-year free
The
PMS,
one
and
what's the one
Yeah.
one 1 million
5 years.
kilometers?
you don't get that with a secondhand car, obviously.
Yeah.
But
So
they do
these are things to
transfer.
consider.
They
Yeah,
do
some of
transfer the
these
warranty.
Oh, they do
mod
transfer.
Some of the
That's why.
warranties
So
Well,
transfer.
yeah, they do.
if
But
the
but they
secondhand car is
Still
relatively
under.
young,
Yeah.
then yes,
yeah.
yeah. But like I said, these are the things that you have to look for, and it's a lot of canvassing, it's a lot of research, it's a lot of calling up people and asking them
yeah.
questions. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're ready to do that, and if you know what you're doing, and you're a car guy and you know what to look for, you know what the market values are like, secondhand
Mm-hmm.
can be a great choice for you. But if you just want to avoid the hassle of all of that,
It's true.
and you'd rather just save money, what's another 3-4 years of saving money?
Like
If you need a car immediately, it's a different story. But if you're
Okay.
just talking about, if you're just talking about, yeah, I want a reliable car that's gonna last me a long time,
Well, that's a brand
I
new
I
car.
wouldn't
Yeah.
risk it. I wouldn't risk it on a secondhand car. That's just me,
Yeah.
though.
So,
Next thoughts.
okay, so like I think it was Paulo who mentioned, or was it Chris who mentioned that when you go to the second-hand market, you have like a lot of options.
Mhm.
I actually disagree on that. The like when you go to when you check all the brand new cars, don't I think you have a lot of choices. When you go to the second-hand market, you're limited to what people are selling, and that can prove difficult because during the pandemic I was actually looking for a pickup. So I was looking for like a Toyota Fortuner of the previous generation, 4 by 4. I couldn't find any for like a while.
Because
Well, that's very specific,
that's
though.
a very
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah, yeah.
Mix.
But yeah. So like, if you're looking for something, like the more specific you get on the second-hand market, it really thins out. Unlike if you go to the brand new market,
Okay.
Yeah.
What about if you were looking for a 4x2? How
there were a
different
lot of
was?
choices.
There were a lot.
But
Well,
then,
that's a more popular,
yeah,
clearly. So.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's more. But the problem also is for me, the second-hand market, it's the condition of the car. Like what I agree with Chris. You really have, like, if you have a mechanic friend or you hire a mechanic, I think you should hire. Big deal.
Well, what I meant by options was budget-wise. So if you say you have a budget of 300,000, that
Okay,
is
yeah,
an
yeah.
amazing array of options. That could range from a relatively new Yaris to
Okay,
a 15-year-old Audi A4. You know, so
300,000.
those are the
That's
options that
yeah,
are. Oh, sorry, not
yeah,
15-year-old. Maybe like a 10-year-old,
Hmm.
10-year-old Audi A4 or something like that.
that's 200,000. Let's see. Let's see what their options are. Okay, we have what's this?
Wow, that's a
Not bad.
20-year-old car. Wow, that holds value
Not
pretty
bad.
well for a 20-year-old
How,
car.
how much was it?
200,000.
Yeah.
How much was
I've
it?
been eyeing this one.
Yeah, so you can see, like, on what for the viewers out there, if you're looking at a second-hand car, pay particular attention to the driver's seat. It's a good telltale sign of how
Yeah.
used it is.
Yep.
The seat, the steering wheel. You see how this one's
Yeah.
pretty okay, but I'm not sure if it's the original seat cover. Is it? You think?
Yeah, that's the one I'm questioning, because this one, it's the parang two-tone look.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Corolla Altis had that.
I think it was a
That
fabric
no,
for this
I
one.
don't think so.
It's a
Yeah.
fabric, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yun, pay particular attention to like the components and stuff. And then one thing I'll say, if the engine has been super cleaned, be careful. Because what's nice about a dirty engine is that you can see if there are any leaks, if there's like
Yep, that's
any
true.
fluids misplaced. You'll be able to see it on a dirty engine. On a really, like, if it's like detailed, there's a likelihood they're hiding something. So yun, keep that in mind. And
Gerard,
then
what
yeah,
would you
like oh yeah.
Honestly, I go for the security of a brand new car in the sense that, yeah, you get, as Chris said, you get pretty long warranties nowadays, and it's less headache. But depends on, to be honest, depends on if I'm feeling more adventurous and like I'm looking for a particular car. Like as I was telling you guys yesterday, if I like, I'm into the old Merc wagons nowadays, the E class in particular, and of course you can't buy that brand new. So I guess, yeah, first very specific cars, then
But
yes, I'd go for the second hand.
but you can get a Volvo.
Oh, man, no. That's a headache.
Yeah.
How can you get a?
Would we even discuss that?
Well, look, you see, this is exactly what I mean. You have a 2003 Volvo station wagon and a 2001 Altis for the same price.
Right.
Yeah, and which one's going to give you headaches?
No, but
I
of
feel like
course,
that's a
I
headache.
Both of them,
I have to
they're
consider
both 20 years old.
Well,
and
yeah.
maintenance budget, yeah.
Which one
know,
would you put your family in? Though?
Well, of course, yeah. Well,
Wagon.
depends.
Not
I mean,
bad.
depends on the maintenance budget, really. If I can afford it,
Pero,
then I'd go for the Volvo. But you know,
there's
for more
Wait,
practical-
find G's Mercedes wagon. See if there is one.
Okay. Yeah.
211 wagon, 09.
Oh, wait.
You actually looked, huh?
Wait, let's look for Mercedes. I think you
09.
can boil down from here. No,
Oh, there aren't a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
see.
very
wait,
few.
no,
It's a rarity.
wait. Oh, whoa, no. Oh. How about this one? Will this entice you enough?
Well,
Might entice Paolo.
How much is
We
it?
had one like this. We had the 210 body.
pwede.
Okay, how much is it?
210.
What's the listed price on that?
450.
450.
And
The thing with
the
the
habit
210 kasi,
450. That's less than the espresso,
yeah, the
right?
thing
Yeah.
with the 210 kasi, it was quite problematic. Depends on the year. If it's the later before the
2001
211.
according to
Oh,
this.
yun, pwede yun. The 211, the 2001 is
We
more or
had
less
we had the
reliable.
210 as a dad.
Okay. Which
97.
year model?
Okay,
97.
so
97.
what we're seeing basically here is it's kind of what we go back to, which is buy what you love but do your homework, right?
Yeah.
If you want to get a used car, I mean, as much as you have to do your homework for a new car, if you want to really get into
You
it
have to do
with a
more
used
homework.
car, you
It's
really
double.
need to know what you're
Yeah.
looking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
No,
not only have to look into what you guys are saying, which is this era is problematic, or this era had a transmission that you didn't,
yeah.
you
I
know,
remember
whatever.
my dad in 1985, he was at that phase where he was looking for those American vans like the Club Wagon and the Dodge Ram. So it took us like, I was around 14 at the time, 13. It took us like months, more than 6 months till we found what we got. We got the 79 Voyager, Plymouth Voyager. But even that was pretty much, it wasn't perfect. But we had to do a lot of research, a lot of hunting to find the one that had the least problems, and uh the wind was in relatively quote unquote perfect condition. So you really have to do your homework and your research. And at that time there was no internet, so
Oh yeah.
classified ads, yeah, we had to
Yeah.
go to
Much
Nao in
easier now.
Pampanga, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay.
A lot easier now.
Here's a thing, and this is we've seen this happen in the last 6 months within specific car niches, and I've personally seen this. There are people who are jumping on whatever they think is popular, and then they're buying them up, and then they're reselling them, and they're doing a bad job of it, and it's borderline. People are being tricked, and
Trick.
so yeah, they are being tricked into looking at something that's not all that well sorted out. And then here's an example. Okay, the photos that we were looking at a while ago. My first reaction was, if you take decent photos, you magically increase the value of your car. Right, because it's a better
Yep.
production value and so on.
Yep.
But
Yep.
then what we're finding is, and I don't want to mention the sports car that I'm talking about, but um, there's someone who's taking great photos, and there's someone who's really talking up the car, but we know the history of that car, for example, and it just doesn't. It. I wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't put it in that condition. I wouldn't buy it. So you just got to be careful, especially now that people are, and when we are seeing that people are jumping on these hobby cars now, they're jumping on these niche cars, whether it's a Miata, whether it's a 911, not so much, whether it's old Toyota Truenos or whatever. People are jumping onto them because they have find time for their hobby. They find time or maybe they see the importance of doing something they're passionate about. But there are some that just, you just got to be careful, and that's even more important now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there. I would always say that you got to know your stuff, and this is not like, if you decide now that you want to buy a Trueno or something, don't start thinking. Don't buy it next week. Start thinking. Start learning about it. Start doing your homework.
Chris.
Yeah.
So that start doing your homework so that when the car comes around, you have the knowledge in you to make the appropriate decision.
Yeah,
Or
it,
get
it, takes,
someone who has the knowledge. That's
it
another.
takes
If,
a
if
while.
you're
It takes months usually, especially if
Yeah.
you're looking for
Well,
a car.
we have this. Okay, auctions are a big deal right now in the watch industry. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have been actually, auctions have been a big deal for a very long time, and it's a bit different because nowadays, with things like high-profile watches becoming very across the board mainstream items that they never were before, people are hunting around for them. So you get all these watches that are coming out that aren't really what I would say auction worthy watches. They're really just kind of sales watches. They're just watches that someone gets and moves on. And so what we're finding is that the people who are hunting in auctions are different. They're the people who just don't have the ability to go into these little groups and do their own homework and get it themselves. So what we're finding is, like, I guess like what Nick said, is that people are trying to have someone else make their decisions. But we are seeing also that we've seen entire lots being pulled because people were pointing out that no, those are completely wrong. I personally have been approached in an attempt by someone to authenticate, and I said there's no way I would do that. There's no way that I have the ability to do that, and I don't think anyone in the country has the ability to do that. So you got to be really, really careful because you can get very, very I mean, if you talk to me about I will be super enthusiastic about it, but don't use me as a sales point, right? Anyway, the point about this was, I guess, just watch out now because there's a lot of people who are trying to mess with other people in terms of cars.
Like for the viewers, I have a question like to ask everyone. For the first time car buyer, what would you suggest to them? For both whether it's buying a brand new or second hand. Chris, what
Who are
would
you
suggest?
asking?
We'd like to
Okay.
the viewers.
Whoever's
watching.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'd like to know what you guys think too.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I mean,
We should have a segment where we go through secondhand listings and we just
Why don't
pick
we all
which
pick
ones
one?
we like.
Why don't we all just pick one?
Honestly,
Okay.
okay.
What would let's do this. Chris, what would you hunt for right now, secondhand?
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. I want to know how
I found mine
the
already.
Mazda CX-5s have been depreciating. That's what I'd be
okay.
curious about.
Okay,
I want to know how the
next, find
Mazda
out.
CX-5s.
Yeah.
I want to know how the CX-5s are holding value. Not the shark nose ones. The ones the body directly previous.
Yeah. Previous
Oh, that's
gen
an old
or
one.
the current. I think this is. No, this is the old one, the older one.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Well,
I'm not talking
male-
about the shark nose one, not the current
Okay.
one. The previous body.
the previous generation. Yeah. Okay, this one.
Yeah. Okay, 1 million for
And
for an all-wheel
now-
drive. Wow. And
Yeah.
it's only 4 years
Diesel.
old. Hey.
And it's diesel.
hey. That's not bad. Okay.
Here, 700. This
All
might
right.
be the
Wait,
gas
Paolo,
one.
what would you look for?
Okay. Yeah.
I've been wanting to look at a small body Toyota Corolla.
Okay.
Really?
Let's go.
I like the old ones.
Well, define.
Corolla.
Give Nix's definition. When you
This
say
one?
small body.
Is this one?
It's like the 1980s, that one. But I would
Oh.
want to find something that's pretty. like,
Okay,
not
you
too
want that
customized.
body. Basically, you're looking at the original 16 valvers. Is
Yeah,
that it or no?
yeah,
Is
that
the
one.
one? Like,
Yeah,
okay. 85.
See, that's interesting because you call it a small body. I would have called it a 16 valve. Am I wrong?
really.
Chris,
Well,
am I
No,
wrong?
it just shows your
This is
age.
12.
Yeah. Well, that was a big deal at the time, right? What would you have called it?
Does it say 12 valve? Oh, it's 12 valve. No.
it's
I mean, it's commonly small body. There's small body and then there's big body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mayflowers.
But it's kind of hard to find a fresh one these days because
Here.
I
lots
would
of these
imagine.
cars are already customized.
Tama, there, 16
And
valve
G is
Corolla.
back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep.
There. Okay.
No, but you're correct about calling it 16 valve. That's what we used to call
Yeah.
it back in the day.
See?
That was a big deal car at the time. That
Yes.
was a
Wow,
big
wait,
deal. It was hard
Yes,
to get.
I
It was
think
one of
when
those
you-
cars where
When you had
you got on a waiting list and people actually sold their spot on a waiting list.
Yes, I think
Wow.
you had to have one back then. To be,
Six
you know.
there. 6.
Yeah.
Yep. It is
Gerard,
really
what would you
fun
look
to have.
for? What would you look for right now?
Right now.
Yep.
How much would Toyota Camry 2012 Toyota Camry V6?
Wow.
Yeah, the 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Q, yeah. Here.
Yeah.
Here.
Wow, that shouldn't be that high because that's a
342. Wow.
That's cool.
Okay.
how much?
That's
340.
300.
not
342.
Not bad. Not
That was
bad.
that was the one before the new model. So yeah.
Why is it so low?
Nix, you have one of these, right?
I'm like, Jared, that's good taste. Jared, that's good taste.
That's
We
Nick's
had
car.
Wow. Hey, it's
2.4, but
78,000 kilometers. That's not bad at all.
that's not bad. That's
You
not
know,
No,
bad
no,
at
no.
all.
the Camry that we have was like
Some pretty nice finds
45,000
here.
It's not bad.
Nick's, what would you look? Well, we know what you would look for, right? Pickup or am I
I
wrong?
sh-
The pickup.
yeah,
The pickup,
here I was
diba?
there.
The Hilux.
This one. But you see, like the prices of I
Toyotas.
noticed it's high. It's really
Yeah,
Toyotas,
they hold-
yeah.
they hold their
Well, Toyota
value.
pickups are going to be high.
Yeah,
Toyota
they hold their
pickups are
value.
they hold their value really well. Look at that,
Yeah.
100,000 kilometers, and it's older than the Camry, and it's twice the price. Wow.
yeah, yeah. And the starting price was cheaper for the Hilux also.
Well, remember the Toyota, and Toyota. This is very clear when Toyota brought out the Fortuner, right? When they brought out the Fortuner, and everyone complained that the ride was so hard. Toyota's answer was, "You know what? This is a utility vehicle, and we cannot make something that will not be usable,
Yeah.
reliable, and
Correct.
sturdy." So,
That's
Correct.
true.
there is a reason why these trucks are still so sought after.
Yep.
You know, what would I get? I
Yes.
I was
What
I was
would
like,
you
I don't know.
I know what he'll get. I know
What
he'll
would you?
get.
What would you? Here, like, okay, I'll tell you what. Okay, tell me what you think that I would say. Not in the slightest. Wait, what are you looking at, the Miata? No, I have one.
You
And
can
I
have
wouldn't.
two. You can have two.
If I had two, I wouldn't get it. I would. I know what I would get. It wouldn't be that. Okay. You know what I would look for? What would I
Yeah,
look
what would
for?
you get?
Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind, if I were to look for, okay, Nick's had a very good point. We did not discuss this. We're going to discuss it now. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a second car? Are you looking for a specific thing to go out of town? Are you looking for a coding car? Are you looking for something your kids to use, learn on? What I would, if I were looking for something, I would look for something that just doesn't fit in with what I've got and would be fun to play with. And I would look at a Suzuki.
Alto, yes. Was in my mind.
No, SUVs, the Jeeps, dude. No, not at all.
Vitara.
Hey,
Not
you
at
know
all.
those
I would
prices are
go,
pretty
I
high.
would go Jimneys.
Oh
I
yeah.
would go.
This is still
Vitara, right? No?
I would
Vitara.
go Vitara.
Vitara.
Yes, I would go Vitara.
The older
I would
Vitara.
go the Jimny. I would go.
How
Actually,
which
and any of
Vitara?
those. I would look at any of those.
I want
That's what I
the
want.
Vitara next.
You know, I
What?
keep
The
trying
vintage
to click on
Vitara
Nix's
would be
The one
screen
fifty
share,
Vitara.
and I can't do it.
Here, old
there we
school
go.
Vitara.
I would look
Yeah.
at a Vitara. Well, okay, I wouldn't put those wheels on it, but okay, I would look
Yeah,
at a
yeah,
Vitara. I would look at any of those. Basically, that's what I would look for. And here's the thing: those hold their
Hey,
value.
Nick.
Okay, find out. Do they hold their value as well as I think they do or not?
That,
The
That's what I was
Alto
gonna-
did. The Alto did.
Yeah. yeah, Alto's
No,
pretty
because
good.
Suzuki fans are like they're really rabid. They're really intense.
Okay,
They're very,
so-
very bland loyal.
We've seen the prices of Toyota, right? Next, try a Euro car. Try like a BMW 3 Series from 2000. 2000 BMW.
Oh, you're
3
gonna you're
Uh,
you're just
yeah.
looking for trouble, Chris.
Dude, there's some like drop hard here. 2005 320. This is the top of the line.
2005.
320i.
320?
Dude, 500k.
For 500,000.
The Camry was 350.
That's 2012. That's 2012.
2012.
And then,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is much older. 2005. Go back, Nix. Go
Okay,
go older, go older.
Ah.
2001
here.
5 Series. The
Here we
E39.
go.
1999. There we go. 230.
Oh, yun.
There we go.
I heard parts of these are actually like good, easy to find. The 316i.
Ah, really?
Yeah,
Lot
316 was quite prolific back in the
Yeah.
day.
Here, back in the
Yeah.
day. Yes.
Yeah.
Like there's a like you can find a lot of surplus now for this one.
What's that car behind it? There's a vintage
Okay.
behind it.
How much is that? Yeah.
Bro, are you selling the one behind? I'm interested in the car behind it.
You go out looking to buy a BMW, come home with that. You show your wife.
But not bad,
And you
Manual
never
pa.
come home again.
That's a fresh interior, huh? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's the original
Mm.
interior.
Yeah.
I have a question. What do you
Yeah.
if you're okay, if we're looking for a used car, what impresses you the most?
Um,
Uh,
hmm.
What about the
What
I
part of
restart?
the car? Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
because for
For
me,
me,
what turns me off is the interior exactly because I can't necessarily solve that. I can solve an engine issue, I can solve a paint issue, and I won't feel bad. But if the interior looks tired to me,
Ah,
if you
yeah, it's
get
harder. It is
especially
harder to sort out.
for sports cars or anything that
Yep.
if you have a bolstered side and you see the constant rubbing uh, for entering and exiting the car, that's kind of hard to solve.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have the issue
Yep.
with my my 91 Galant GTI. I can't replace those seats. The Miata, same issue. You can't replace those seats easily. How do you make them? And you want to be period specific at this point, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're kind of making a commitment. So to me, a tired interior tends to bother me the most. How about you guys?
Yeah.
For me, when I look at the interior, but more of the driver's seat and the steering wheel, especially if the original steering wheel is in leather, so you can really see the age or how it was taken care of.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know the problem now is that wouldn't have been an issue to me before because I just switched the wheel, right? But nowadays we can't do that because we can't just put on
Airbag.
a
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, or not even without the airbag. That's I'm actually kind of okay with that because we're always strapped in anyway. But I mean, okay, I'm talking specific cars. Okay, for example, my Miata, I pulled out the old steering wheel which had an airbag. I put in a custom Modelita with that the gang from Mutineers put in. Awesome, but you can't do that with modern cars. You lose all the functionality, and plus,
Hmm.
if you just take it out, you can have check engine lights going off like crazy.
Yes. Yep.
So there,
Yeah. That's
Chris, what
another
do you
good
look
point,
at?
though. That is another good point between buying secondhand and brand new. Cars, modern cars they're built a lot safer nowadays. So
Mhm.
that's a point of
Yeah, that's true.
consideration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
true.
And
Yes.
I'm not
Correct.
just talking about
Correct.
features and airbags. I'm talking about the actual body construction.
Yes,
You know,
Purple
correct.
the
zones. Side
manufacturers are always
buttons.
looking for
Yeah.
ways to build their chassis and their foundations and in safer ways,
Yeah.
stronger metals,
That's
better
completely
Design.
true.
body
True.
absorption. You
True.
know,
Yes,
Yep.
And that's
energy
something you can't
absorption. Yeah,
upgrade at all. You can't just
yeah,
like
Oh yeah.
correct.
upgrade the
Yep.
car,
Very,
it will be
very correct.
safer.
Yep.
Well, that's we did that video a while back, Nick, about traction control and stability control
Oh
because we
yeah.
don't think people pay attention too much. And Chris is completely correct. The modern metals, and someone just showed this. Someone showed a Hyundai that got crunched by a
Yeah.
truck, and they were
yeah,
saying, "Look at how solid that thing came out." And remember, Hyundai. One of the early ads for Hyundai in the U.S. When people were questioning, "Are they going to make a decent car?" Their answer was, and they put up a photo of a super tanker. Like, we also kind of do this,
Yeah.
and they also have steel mills. So, you know, they make some pretty solid stuff. And Chris is completely correct. They now put the strong stuff exactly where they need to put it. They bolster everything. The issue, and we've brought this up before, the issue now is that they make the cars so safe that they're working on the secondary things. Like, what if you hit a bicycle? They're trying to keep the pedestrians safe because they're kind of they feel they're continually changing it. But stop showing me Miatas, please. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. They just make okay. There's an example. One of our good friends who runs Car Shack. He is alive because he put in a full-on roll bar, and he got hit by a truck. A truck hit
wow,
him. The roll bar protected him, and this is not a fake roll bar. This is a full-on. I think it was a Cusco, a full-on protected roll bar. So
What car did he have?
NA.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
It's NA or
Miata.
nothing.
Yeah.
The first generation Miata. So he put and well, he's car shop, right? So he knows his stuff.
Yep.
And he put that on, and that is, at the time I was for racing purposes running a visual and aesthetic bar, not a protected bar, because I didn't want to run holes in my chassis, right? Holes in the body and all that. And
Mhm.
no, he's all these things are new, and they're all changing. And Chris is right. We're not talking about pig iron metal. We're talking about the latest and greatest in technology going into all these things.
Yep.
So very, very, very true. We should do that one time. I wonder if anyone cares. I wonder. We were having this discussion. I wonder if people care about the technology that we discuss. But they
That's a
should.
good.
They should know
Yeah.
about it.
I'm not even sure if a lot of people know about what goes on behind the cars
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of technology.
That's true.
There's certain things. I learned this. I talked when they released the Mitsubishi Mirage, and we went to talk to the engineers in Japan and in Thailand actually. And we said, "What's the big deal? And why are you committing to a three-cylinder engine when normally, you have the Evos, right? So you could put whatever engine in there." I said, "No, we're not building this for anything larger." And I said, "Why not?" They said, "Because we believe that we have the best possible structure, and we're not looking at engine changes. We're looking at passenger safety." And
Yeah.
their point was by limiting the size of the engine, they could build the entire car to be much safer for the occupants.
Yeah.
And it made complete sense.
Yep.
So all these cars that we're now seeing that have three-cylinder engines, there is actually a safety component
Yeah.
to that. It
Really?
means that they
Yeah.
can build the cars safer than before. So again,
Yeah.
as Chris said, the newer cars are safe. We think of people used to say the big old American cars, you have all that stuff protecting you. That's not the case anymore. That's
Yeah.
really not
Yeah.
the case anymore.
And that's still prevalent today. Like people buy large SUVs
Yeah, exactly.
because they think, oh, it's safer. If I get hit by a bus, it's safer because it's bigger. That's
Yeah,
and
that's the
that's-
prevailing
yeah.
mentality.
Yeah, they'll flip over
Yeah.
too. It's it's
That's what I always say.
no.
Yeah.
Well, there was one time someone complained about. There's someone who constantly complained about Volvos because he said there's just no space in the footwell, right? It's always so compressed. Why is it compressed? It should be open. I should be able to move my feet around. And the engineer for Volvo said, "Would you rather have air protecting you or metal?" And there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, so there. Okay, so what have we looked at? We all have cars that we would hunt for that you cannot buy new, and we would hunt for those. And those are the cars you'd focus on in terms of used cars. But we all also agree that the new cars are safer. They're more technologically forward. We haven't discussed app for the first time ever. We haven't mentioned Apple CarPlay in a video.
We have now.
It's like- and-
So there you go.
We haven't, but okay. Having said, there are people who are retrofitting Apple CarPlay. They're taking
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
one of the Suzuki's that doesn't have Apple CarPlay, and they're putting in head units that allow it.
Yeah.
And
one of the
one of the
yeah.
Mutineer
Yeah.
Miata guys did this awesome thing where he's putting in a Bose sound system so he can run his iPhone.
Then
Because everyone, also again, this is an NA, right? Original Miata, so they want to keep it as period specific as they can. They want to put all the new stuff into it. So there.
Yeah.
So technology, we're missing technology. We're missing efficiency. If you buy a used car,
Yeah,
we're missing
Safety.
a lot of the little
The
things.
convenience of the brand new for me, the biggest ones, it's really less of a headache because the problems won't be as bad or as frequent as an old car. Because the older the car gets, the more frequent the problems will arise. So,
that's
at
why
least with the new car, you have
Yeah.
warranty and all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay, the reverse there is what if you buy a new car and you're unhappy? Then you're really, really upset.
that sucks.
Oh,
Um,
that
And it's happened.
that's right.
It-
you should
it
have done
happens.
your homework.
no. You can't do that because what if there's a problem that they can't solve or they don't know about
But,
or and they have enacted to a point the lemon law or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we do have issues of cars that are 1, 2, 3 years old that have a check engine light that just won't go off, or there's a constant problem. And that's the other problem is that if you have a little issue with a new car, sometimes you got to take apart the entire car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I
that's
know.
where having a relationship with your dealership plays a big role. Like, but at least you have someone to run to also. Sometimes when you're buying secondhand cars, it's like you can't really exactly run to the guy you bought it.
Well, and the other thing is that people don't really realize it, but we have, and this is again a car shack comment. People there are car brands who actually go to the specialists because they can't solve their problem, and it happens far more than we think it does.
Hmm.
So there. Anyway, so there. So we have discussed new car versus used car. We have discussed the positives. We have discussed the negatives. We have discussed the fact that G has a following on the internet and is now known as G rather than Gerard. We have discussed. We haven't discussed, but we will discuss the fact that where in the timeline is Nix's facial hair, or Chris's facial hair? Sorry, Nix's had no hair. Chris's facial hair, because you cannot anymore gauge where we are because he's kind of fluctuating. So, okay.
He shaved 12 hours ago. That's my step.
Okay, so here's a question: how long ago did Chris shave?
Put your
Nobody
answers
cares.
in the comments.
I'll bet you someone will care, Chris. I bet. Okay. So thank you very, very much. This has been the Cars Casually gang. We are with Chris. We are with Nix. We are with Paulo. We are with G. We will see you again very quickly unless we keep talking about this one. So thank you very, very much, everyone. Let us know what you buy. Let us know what you want. Let us know again what you want to talk about. Thank you very, very much. And we are out.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.